Hello, everyone. Welcome to our official second podcast of the One Up podcast. Get a One Up, transforming the world with drones, IoT, and AI. Today, we will be discussing construction trends and use cases within the drone world. We will have Scott Stewart and Andrew Bhushan talking with us today. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves, please go ahead.
My name is Scott. I've been a active drone pilot for over about 10 years now, dabbling in pretty much anything you can do with a drone. I'm just here to kind of give my thoughts and see how this great advancement in technology is really helping out the world.
And yeah, I'm Andrew Bhushan. I'm part of the One Up team here. You're good. and come with a background in supply chain manufacturing right across the globe. Worked in 7 different countries, over 30 different manufacturing and supply chain facilities. So a lot of my background comes in when we're looking at sites with construction and building new facilities as well.
Thank you, guys. And we will be going over a few of our blog entries from our One Up Drones website. The first one will be about material tracking on construction sites. And I'll just be scrolling through here if you guys would like to take it away.
So, Andrew, being in this industry and knowing about inventory stuff and control, would you see, like in the past, of traditional counting of inventory? Has that ever been an issue on sites and locations for management?
Yeah, I think it definitely, you kind of got your twofold. You've got, if it's a supply chain or inside of manufacturing, it's a little different, cycle counts and how well we're doing at those, especially when you're talking bulk materials, which really goes into the construction side because we're using a lot of these bulk materials for the construction, whether it's a highway or an overpass. You're going to have a lot of material that you're removing, and then also putting material that you're using for that construction. So, the accuracy of when things were delivered, were they really delivered, where are they, how much have you used, how much is being removed, tying that all together through the report mechanisms and everything else that construction companies go through. The reports are great. We have paper trails with, tickets and sign-ins and everything else, but the accuracy and the audit kind of piece of it as well, that, our drones and the services that drones can be used for inside of that is extensive. It just gives you that audit piece that's allowing you to really understand, yes, material is here, it's being removed from here. This is the volumetric calculation of exactly how much has been put together. And is it getting used in the appropriate manner and in the appropriate ways per the plans in the construction project?
Yeah, I mean, because I know with the advancement of drones and AI specifically, you can take a drone now these days and fly it over a scene and do, the calculations all there. So instead of walking around and trying to count how many pipes are left or boxes or cubic square feet, using the new drone technology, it's pretty much done. It's recorded, the data sent. It's a great tool out there for making sure you still have the right material, enough material, just to keep projects moving forward and not slow them down due to inaccuracies on counts.
Yeah, I mean, the traditional way of doing it, which is good, is you figure out your pile, you see how high it is, you get your widths and depths kind of calculations, and you can work it out on a piece of paper pretty quickly. But really understanding and being able to accurately get those numbers, and especially if you're talking multiple piles and different things, it's just so much easier to be able to fly a drone. And like you said, almost in real time, hit a button, draw your boundaries, and be able to understand all the information.
Thank you, guys, for that insight. We'll go ahead and move to our next article that we'll be looking at. This one is about construction site inspection.
Construction sites these days they're massive. They're from little sites to big sites to just huge, and just, the old ways of trying to manage all of that and stuff stacked on stuff, which can be behind stuff, I feel has always probably been an issue because you can easily lose stuff if it's, not visual sight. from ground level. But bringing in drone technology, one, you're able to see progress, you're able to monitor inventory, you can mitigate safety, and use drones for all those different applications in a simple, AI format software.
Yeah, I think adding onto that safety piece as well. If I'm the representative or the owner of the project that's going on, I've got maybe a general a GC working on it, but their subs and all these different people that are working on there, are they working safely? I can walk in there and have a look, or I'm looking at the data, right? How many accidents we had, how many maybe violations or people that got tickets, those things, but they're all, lagging indicators. With drones and part of that AI technology as well, being able to pop up, fly over, it could be a very large area, or it could be a small area, it could be different multiple sites kind of still in line of sight, but literally be able to fly over and allow the software to really say, yep, you know what, we got tracking here, we got safety helmets on, we got this, we got distances from people around moving machinery, heavy equipment, all those different things, and be able to very accurately knock out a safety audit within flight time, minutes, compared to trying to go through that and missing a lot of stuff by manually going through and doing that kind of safety audit, safety checking. I think as well on the construction side, when it comes to progress reports, it's like we say, right? A picture's worth 1,000 words. When you're looking at really understanding how far a project's come, when you do that with a new build in a house, right? You literally have someone come in and yes, all these walls are up, and yes, this is where it is. You are this percentage complete inside of the home build. Here's a release of funds or whatever you're working through. That's what the bank's doing to make sure that progress is there. You start thinking about very large operations, large construction projects. How can you do that and also have that security and control over what things are happening and are they moving at the right pace? You can see absolutely everything and be able to contrast it from one set of images to the next one after that, to really see that progress go through inside of the opportunity or the project that's being run.
Andrew, I completely agree with you. I mean, just a simple case. I've been flying a subdivision down here north of Houston. I've flown it about 4 times now, and it's probably 40, 50, 60 smaller style homes and like an apartment complex. It's like a little built community. But I've been hired out just basically once a month right now to go fly a certain schedule with video and photos to see progress on the actual build of the site, which could be used for so many multiple things. Investors, make sure they're staying on track. Safety people, not as much, but, on the other end of that, and inventory possibly. They can match up with other written reports or on-site reports of things. But really just progress reports are big because people want to know, money is time. And as long as you're on schedule, then this is now proof to back it up versus somebody's word, somebody writing something down in a journal. It just kind of, I don't know if it keeps people more on point or more ethical, but, really it's helping out, I believe, in that construction industry.
I would just to add on to what Scott was saying, I think it also saves a huge amount of time, right? It's very rarely that the person in charge on the site is sitting down and writing that full document together, right? Take away the drone piece and all the advantages, but in the old way of going through it and writing all that stuff down, you're having notes passed to other people and condensing them all together and building up a report. Things get lost in translation and exactly how it's going. But even without that report, you just look at the digital images, and also with the advances in AI as well. When you're looking from one to the other, what's the differences? How far that's being how much height is being gained inside of those. All that can be automated and save a lot of, pencil pushing time.
Thank you, guys. I definitely agree that, the time is money. And we see with drones, saving so much time and safety, just everything is just quicker and safer. So thank you guys for that insight. We'll go ahead and move on to the next article. This one is site surveys and construction planning.
So with some of the stuff I've done from site surveying and mapping, there's multiple options for that. There's RTK, or there's ground control points where you can get an accurate measurement of what the ground looks like. And along with using drones, being able to look what's around where you're building, you're able to see, obstacles. Engineers are able to take this information and really pre-program without even having to go out there and just take down notes for, what they're going to be building on, which, ultimately does affect the end, because if they, if they're out there without the proper information to start building something, who knows what obstacles they might run into. Example, in the neighborhood I live in, we have a big sinkhole forming because of underwater stream, and it took out, so almost half of someone's backyard. And this is a large subdivision. Don't know if drones would, been able to point that out before, but they've now been working the last 3-4 months putting pile-ins and concrete and trying to rebuild this whole side of a hill that has basically washed away, almost jeopardizing people's houses. So being able to get in there with this technology, I feel it'll be a huge benefit and cost saving in the long run. Even if you're throwing a little more money up front, I guarantee you mapping with a drone just to get elevations is cheaper than that drilling rig out there for the last month and a half putting 30-foot pylons in the ground.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I know, from the services we've performed for customers, I remember one we were looking at, the client at the end of the day was wanting to increase the amount of water flow through an aquifer. And the survey with ground control points, just like you mentioned, Scott, some of the areas where it was kind of like a natural, creek that was getting modified to allow that increased flow. Some of those spots were really difficult to get to, like physically to get to. So being able to use ground control points and also the surveying, it allowed them to get all that information quickly, which allowed a little bit more time to their planning to really get how they wanted that flow to go. And also using that model and putting it into, simulations that they're having. It was a, win-win all the way around.
One thing that you just threw up on the screen is the advantage of drone surveying versus traditional surveying. I've never done traditional, but I've seen people, they go and hike it up. They got boots on the ground. They're out for days, possibly. I mean, they're, with that, they're basically going what they can see from, eye level, which is worked. It's worked in the past. Yes. I mean, it's been used greatly and there's nothing wrong with it, but even being able to put both of those surveys together to prove something even more accurate if needed, and just the time saving and, safety issue of not having to, scale down a wall or climb through the forest and, get bit by a snake or something like that. I mean, it's all different things. Being able to have the drone give you the same data is such a huge benefit, I feel, when it comes to surveying. All
right. Thank you, Scott and Andrew, for that insight. Really interesting things to think about. And if anyone would like to check out these blogs, we have multiple different ones on our OneUp Drone site, as you can see on the screen. If you go to the OneUp Drone site, oneupdrones.com, blogs are located here at Drone Insights, and you can see everything that we have posted here. But any closing comments before we finish up the podcast today?
We're still in the baby phases of drone use, and either it be in the air, on the ground, in the water. It's just the very beginning spot, and seeing how it's going to advance and help, society enjoy life better, like a tool, either by making the job easier, quicker, cheaper, or just for family use. We started with big old VHS cameras back in the day on our shoulders, and now we have our phones here. So drones are just going to get smarter. They're going to get smaller. They're going to get more effective. And with the introduction of AI, I don't even know what we'll see next.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. I think, like you said, I think where the services we talked about today, how the AI, machine learning, or the mapping around that as well, how that's going to really take a big impact in the future, and taking all this data and processing it to make it just more easier for everyone to use, and also take out all the time that it used to take to do a lot of things.
All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you for another great discussion. And we will check in with everyone next week.